with the Public Works Minister, Patricia de Lille. Thank you so much for your time tonight.
Pleasure.
Are you surprised by seeing the state of some of those buildings that you are paying for every month?
No. I'm not surprised, and I actually agree with what the caller said there. We spend about 8 billion rand a year that we are paying towards renting buildings from outside of government, from the private sector. While from the buildings that we own, our income is only just over 200 million. So there is an imbalance, and that we must fix. But we must also use the opportunity of unused buildings like that, especially in the inner city, to deal with the apartheid spatial planning and bring people closer to work opportunities. So we're in the process of finalizing our movable asset register, which is not completed after many years, because those things are all reflected on our asset register, but it's not used. So this department is the custodian, Cathy, of 99,000 buildings and 29,000 pieces of land. And we're holding that in custodian on behalf of the public. So public land and public buildings must be used for public good. And that is going to be the approach, that we must make the buildings where the public interact with government on a daily basis, whether it's home affairs or our courts or the police stations, we need to make that space to be more friendly. And that is the exercise that we're starting tomorrow with the courts, because we have prioritized the courts together with the Department of Justice to attend to the maintenance and repairs of buildings.
And certainly, we'll get to the issue of the courts in the moment, but I think just looking more holistically then at these buildings that you're managing. You say 49,000 buildings.
99,000.
99,000, there we go, 99,000 buildings. So of those buildings, how many of them are currently being used? Do you have a percentage of those that you are using optimally?
I don't think they're always used optimally, but and the percentage could be close to 70%. I think the buildings that we've just saw on the insert fall under those unused buildings, which for many years has, denigrated into the state that it is now. But we must come with a plan that can begin to see how we can utilize those buildings, because in some instances, government have to pay also for security to guard buildings like that. And we will announce the plan later on. But it must also be part of the broader land reform program. Land reform is not just about agricultural land. It's also urban land and urban spaces. And the Department of Public Works can make a big contribution to bringing transformation into the spaces by releasing some of these buildings. But I will consult. I serve on the Interministerial Committee, chaired by the Deputy President, and with my colleagues there in that cluster, we will consult and come up with a plan.
Do you think that this 8 billion that you're spending on private property could be reduced if you were using all of the land that all of the property that government already owns?
Part of the concern is that the departments that we need to rent buildings for, say we have to rent a building for home affairs, they opt to go for private building because the repairs and maintenance is better in a private building where the facility management is better. But I don't think we can use that excuse any longer. We need to improve on our facility management, increase the budget, and work together with the user departments to use these buildings more optimal.
So basically, if I understand you correctly, as you've given with the example of home affairs, they would basically then circumvent their own governmental processes, as it were, and go to private sector.
Yes.
But surely that shouldn't be a practice that's even thought about within government.
Well, we have to bring the balance, and we have to bring government departments back to using our own buildings, but then we as Department of Public Work and Infrastructure, we must improve on our repairs and maintenance. I've just started a process because 80% of the invoices that are not paid for repairs and maintenance, especially to small and medium businesses, comes from our repairs and maintenance. And last week I discovered over 2,084 unpaid invoices, started the process. Within 3 days, we've paid 1,249 to the value of 93 million. We still have got about 838 invoices left. But if we sort our facility management and repairs and maintenance out, we can better repair and maintain government buildings.
It sounds like you found the department in somewhat of a shambolic state.
Well, I must say my predecessor started a turnaround strategy way back in 2012, and that has certainly led to better audit outcomes. What we now need to do is to make sure that in an economic environment where government don't have money, that the money that we do have is spent better. And that's why we're starting with the courts tomorrow. And then we'll go on to police stations, we'll go on to home affairs offices. Because I really want the public, when they move into a public space, they must feel that this government is friendly, that this government care about them.
Sure, we'll talk about your plans for the courts in a moment, and also the implications then of the advisory panel on land, their findings which they released yesterday. What exactly does that mean for Minister de Lille and her officials? We'll continue our conversation in a moment. Do stay with us. You're live on News at Prime.